Yo, what is going on, Arkansas Razorback fans? The SEC fans that like to come through. Welcome. We're going with a little bit darker vibe in here. Couldn't tell you why. Has nothing to do with Saturday or Sunday. Nothing to do with the Rams losing or what happened on Saturday, right? Hello, darkness, my old friend. All right. Do me a favor. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you're new. If you're new here. Tell a friend, hey, there's this guy. He's independent. He doesn't belong to any recruiting site. He's not a part of any, major affiliation with established media. It's just this guy. He's fat, he's bearded, he's got a big mouth. Always running his big mouth. But you know what? Sometimes he's got to point every once in a while. Every once in a while. All right. We got a few things to talk about. What's going on? Heartbroken Hog. Nellie Davis for 3. I like that name. I know you've been in here for several times, but I love that name. Megan, how are you? Ross Henry. I think he's coming at us with a very, very balanced, unhinged take. He says, got to get to 7 or 8 wins this year to keep Sam, in my opinion. Bobby, year 2, would be fire. But keeping Bobby another year might be tough if offense keeps showing vast improvement. So I love that you brought that up, Ross, too, because that's kind of the title of this video. That's what the title of the video has to do with. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And that 1 step back is kind of like, well, we'll get to that in a minute. That's what we'll do. Nelly loves you. Hey, if you're not in our Discord, you need to come check it out. Come be in our Discord. It's so fun. We listen, you get all kinds of takes in there. There's the Discord link. Unless Arkansas has money, Bobby can go anywhere. Well, I mean, you realize he's pretty well paid at Arkansas. He's pretty well paid. He's pretty well compensated to be the offensive coordinator. But at this rate, I mean, you're not entirely wrong. If the offense is humming, there's no doubt about that. That is one thing we can take away is they can get big plays. Wasn't just against UAPB. They were able to do it against Oklahoma State. All right. Again, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It's YouTube just they do not push Tusk Talk at all. Don't know why. I don't know. My like to dislike ratio on this channel is very high. Don't know. It probably has something to do with me not allowing them to put ads on the live shows. I'm sure I've talked to some other content creators who said that can be a death penalty and you shouldn't be doing that. You need to let the ads run. Let your audience deal with the ads. And I'm like, yeah, but I know how I'm not a big fan of ads. I'm hoping this will help convince you guys to come on over to Patreon. That way we don't have to worry about AdSense. We don't have to worry about AdSense revenue. I don't have to worry about that. Who cares if I'm not running ads, right? I've got Patreon, which it has been rocking and rolling, no doubt about it. Shout out to the sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Same day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, even in this economy. Better than best results. Give them a call, 501-244-3667. Again, that's 501-244-3667. They do operate out of Central Arkansas, obviously with the 501, but they are also up here in the 479 in Northwest Arkansas. It's a free quote, man. It's free. They'll come look at your whatever's going on with your door. How about our other awesome sponsor, Insurance Max? They offer business, personal, life and health insurance, retirement, shopping, the best rates for you, all four corners of the state. Their link is provided for you down below. See what they can do for you. Click the link. Maybe they're cheaper, or they can help you out one way or another. But check out Insurance Max. Always, if you can help it, shop local. Support local businesses. You guys know that's the only, until things get super duper desperate, it's the only sponsors I'll take on. Local sponsors. All right. Yeah, it doesn't help. Someone messaged me and they said, so Arkansas football is underperforming, or they lose to Oklahoma State, and now you're doing this thing where YouTube wants you to throw ads out there, and you're not doing that. It's going to hurt you on your terms of views and all that. And I don't care. I've been doing it that way for a while. I don't care. That probably does have a lot to do with them not. And it's not even like sending you guys notifications. It's preferred searches, right? If someone who doesn't know who I am and they're looking up Arkansas Razorback Sports, Tusk Talk no longer comes up as a recommended channel. Not at the top like it used to. We used to be up there, man, back when we were PTN, Pictorial Network, in the very beginning of Tusk Talk there for about a year and a half, and for whatever reason it just dropped. That was about the time they made their changes to inserting ads. I haven't followed by their rules, and clearly YouTube, they're just not going to recommend the channel if I'm not going to play by their rules. So, again, it helps when you guys are active with Tusk Talk, when you're joining Discord, when you're joining Patreon, and all that stuff. So just keep that in mind. But I do appreciate everyone for being here. Oh, man. I wanted to go live earlier today, but I was so busy yesterday driving around Northwest Arkansas, picking my kids up. They each stayed at someone's house on the opposite side of, it felt like on the opposite sides of Northwest Arkansas. So I was on the road for 2 hours, had stuff to do around here, had some more, just kind of looking around on PFF, trying to get in on some of these numbers, which we're going to go over here in a minute. Did not have time to watch the game until this morning, rewatch the game. And to be honest with you, I don't know that there's anything else to really add that hasn't already been said. After all, I'm coming on live at 5, almost just shortly before 5:30 p.m. You guys already have heard everything, right? That's kind of why on Mondays I'd prefer to go live a little bit earlier. But there are some things here that maybe we could all consider. And I know some of you are like, I don't listen to anybody else, Ty. You're it. You're my guy. But I said it already in the postgame show, and some of it is going to be, I'm going to say it again. But before we do, let's first look at the SEC really quick. Let's get started there. That's our starting point. What happened around the SEC? Is there anybody that I'm like, because I did watch a little bit of college football on Saturday. I got to watch a couple of, kind of clicking back and forth between a couple of games. Rewatch some highlights of some other games, kind of listen to some other YouTubers talk about their show or their teams. And if you asked me right now, like, Ty, other than Georgia, who do you feel like is just not getting, like, is there someone that probably should be getting a little bit more love? Is there someone around the league that you're just like, all right, maybe we should take them seriously, and we're not already taking them seriously, or not seriously enough? It's Tennessee. The more I watch them, the more I see their highlights, the more, and I cannot pronounce that quarterback's name to save my life. It's spelled like I am Aliva. And I think I'm saying that right. And I've also heard it pronounced a couple of different ways. Someone's going to be on me about it. Someone's going to get all over me. I'm just going to call him the Tennessee quarterback. Went on the road to NC State. Now, NC State, vastly overrated. I'm not sure that I've ever bought into them being a top 25 squad. But Tennessee went on the road and smoked NC State. 51-10. Now, if you would have asked me what's your prediction as far as a score here, I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have said it was going to be that. This game played at Bank of America Stadium. 6:30. 51-10. And you look over some of their numbers, like their passing game is, not bad. They ran for almost 250 yards off 44 attempts, putting them at almost 6 yards a carry. But their defense, NC State, Grayson McCall, he's at NC State. Grayson McCall couldn't throw deep. I don't know if they had a single completion beyond, I think they had one. I could be wrong. I think there was only one that was beyond 25 yards. NC State, I would have thought this was going to be a decent game. 51-10. I just don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking too much. Listen, we could sit here and say Oklahoma State is one thing or another, right? Again, I'm a known Big 12 quote-unquote hater. Even though I'm not, I want them to be a good conference. I don't want it to be the SEC in the Big 10. I would like for some of these other Power 3, Power 4 conferences, whatever we're calling them now, to be more competitive. That's good for college football. It just is. Oklahoma State is whatever. I don't know. But you would still, an outsider, and many outsiders have said this. I've listened to a few people, read a few things here and there. Outsiders are like, Hog fans, I don't know what you're freaking out about. I don't know what you're upset about. You went on the road. You were 10-point underdogs, and you manhandled Oklahoma State until you tripped over your own shoes. Until you tripped over your own shoelaces, whatever. What are you freaking out about? You guys should have beaten these guys by double digits. You just got to get rid of the mistakes, right? And again, we will get to that in a minute. NC State, I would say Oklahoma State's probably better than NC State, but I was very impressed with what I saw out of Tennessee. Defensively, their run game, there was a lot there to like. Oklahoma, I kind of wish they were on the schedule this year. They beat Houston 16-12. 2 games they didn't win. They haven't looked dynamite like I think OU fans wanted them to look their first year. We'll see what happens once they get into the grind. LSU struggled with Nichols, 44-21. Gave up almost 150 yards to their running back, Guggenheim. Oh, my gosh, that's that guy's last name, Guggenheim. A&M over McNeese, 52-10. Auburn loses to Cal, 21-14. South Carolina might be better than at least people thought. They're starting off 2-0 on the year, 31-6. Florida, 45-7. Hey, they beat somebody bad. It's Samford, but whatever. They beat somebody bad. Vanderbilt, 55-0 over Alcorn State. And Arizona State beat Mississippi State, 30-23. Didn't get a chance to watch that one. Alabama over South Florida. There for a minute, you kind of thought maybe Alabama's going to have maybe this is going to be a game they just slept on, and they do end up winning that one 42-16. Texas over Michigan 31-12. Georgia over Tennessee Tech 48-3. And of course, we know what happened between Arkansas and Oklahoma State. But again, Tennessee is someone I wasn't really sure what to make of them, and now that we've kind of watched them, and now that they have at least what you would consider a competitive game, that's not bad, man. And listen, once they get in SEC play, that's always the question for Tennessee, right? That's always the question. That's the question for anybody. But not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, wait, that's super chat. My bad. Kerper 4-1. Then Tennessee comes to town. Book it. Okay. I feel like you say that a lot, man. I feel like we've pinned some of your comments in Discord. I've had to unpin them because you've had 2 or 3. Good evening, Ty. What's up, Unbiased Brim? How you doing, man? We will do another call-in show. We might do one Wednesday if I can't get anyone booked I'm going to be real with you. I've not reached out to anybody about Wednesday. I'm trying to make it to where, like, Wednesday is a time when we can bring people on. Maybe Thursday, we can do our predictions on Thursday for the upcoming Arkansas game, or we can just do it on Friday. I'm not really sure. Counting wins for Hog football is a bad move. Wait. Oh, yeah. What Matt said. Yeah. Yep. I'm numb to losses at this point. Been a rough few years. Well, you had one good year, 2021, when you had a bunch of super seniors and you had leaders on both sides of the ball. The only important topic, Ty. Who you gonna get? Ty, who you gonna get? We've heard all the negative. Time to pump some sunshine, drink some Kool-Aid, and get ready for Saturday, says Boss Hog. He doesn't want to hear any of the negativity. He only wants to hear the positive. You know, we'll see. The lack of adjustments, says Carson, after the first half is so worrying. John Allen says they did not win, we lost. So Josh Pate put out a video, I guess this was or maybe it was today, where he was talking about how he was on the sidelines for the Michigan game and he was unable to watch Arkansas and Oklahoma State play. He says he doesn't like that argument. That Arkansas lost it more than Oklahoma State won it, but I think he said something like this is kind of where it might actually be applicable. Like, this is actually what happened. And I think I think that is what happened. I mean, I'm on record as saying that. I said it on Mark Rogers earlier today, and I said it on the post game. Audio was low. Well, this microphone. I'm telling you guys, OBS, which is the online broadcast software, something happened the other day. It wiped out it reset some of my settings. And it messed. I noticed I don't know. Maybe it was a power surge in here. I don't know. But it messed with some stuff. But I mean, the levels are showing. There we go. Maybe they're a little bit better. But see, I'll do that, and then someone will say, "Well, you're too loud now." So hopefully, I'm coming in loud and clear. Our strength coach, we run 22 miles an hour. Mike Gundy, we won because we were in better shape. That's what he said. That's what he said. That's what Oklahoma State fans are saying, too. And I got to say, Oklahoma State fans have been mostly pretty cool. Like, really. I'm sitting here saying, you guys didn't win the game. Arkansas lost it, blah, blah, blah. And some of them have been pretty good sports about it, which is good to see. It's very good to see. There's some that are saying that, I don't know what. See, now my camera's my camera's slipping. All kinds of problems today. But Oklahoma State fans, and like I said on Mark Rogers earlier today, they've been pretty cool about it. I wonder if it's because they probably do know, like, yeah, we lucked out, we were fortunate. However, you had that debacle at the end of the game that was, I don't know what the officials were doing. I mean, that was just so bizarre. They stopped the clock. They didn't get Jukic jumping off sides, but up until that point, I think they know. Travis Adair says, I feel like we can average 600 yards again and finish 4-8 because we averaged 3 to 5 turnovers a game. Should have had one against UAPB. Absolutely should have had one against UAPB. I mean, to be fair, Jaquindon Jackson, the ball fumbled forward, but he's lucky. He's lucky that he was running in that direction. Had that been like an up-the-gut kind of run, just outside the hash mark kind of run, that would have been a fumble, and they would have UAPB would have recovered it. DJ's breakdown was really good. I haven't seen it. Yeah, I'm talking about mental mistakes. The most Arkansas thing to happen is that we got breaks on calls and still lost. Yeah, you're not wrong, man. Unbiased, you are not wrong. Let's look at some of the stuff from just looking at numbers. Looking at and I know the only number that matters is your record. I fully understand that. But they are going, the whole point of this is 2 steps forward. At no point last year that I recall was Arkansas considered a high-scoring, high-flying offense. They had a couple of games where they were pretty good. There's no doubt. There were a couple of games early on last year where it was like, all right, the offense might be okay. At no point, when you got to consider you played a ranked opponent on the road, they're the 4th highest scoring offense right now in the SEC. It is early, and these numbers, again, I will agree with that too. It's way too early to start talking about this and that. I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is at no point last year did we really feel like the offense would be this level of good. If only they didn't shoot themselves in the feet as often as they did against OK State. Just OK State. 50 points a game. Now, defensively, they're giving up. They're around the bottom. They're at 14th in points given up. They're at 19.5. Ole Miss is the number 1 scoring offense, 64 points. Tennessee's at 60 points. Again, this is per game. Alabama at 52.5, and then Arkansas at 50.5. Missouri's at 44.5. They've played absolutely nobody. And again, you could say the same about a lot of teams, which is why you take a lot of these numbers with a grain of salt. And Arkansas is about to play a nobody this weekend in UAB. Vanderbilt at 44.5, Auburn at 43.5. The lowest scoring offenses are South Carolina so far at 27 points a game. And then you drop down to Kentucky at 18.5 a game. Whew. Son. That's not great to start off. Not great. Looking at total yards. Now, I do think some of this matters as long as you've played at least you have a ranked opponent on your schedule. Arkansas's at almost 670 yards a game, which is good enough for second best in the SEC. Ole Miss at first with 713 yards or total yards per game. Tennessee's at 589. Listen to this. 713 Ole Miss, 667 Arkansas. Then you drop all the way down to 589 yards a game. 589 yards a game with Tennessee. Missouri's at 503. Alabama's just under 500. Whew. Defensively, Arkansas, again, they're near the bottom at 250. They're giving up about 260 a game. And again, this is coming from SEC Stats, SECsports.com / whole bunch of crap, sports/football/stats. Oklahoma at 257 is what they're giving up. Missouri defensively has looked good, but I want to see them versus an actual, like a legitimate opponent. But they're only giving up 66 yards a game. They've given up no points. Georgia at 161, who played Clemson through 2 games. Everybody's played 2 games so far. No early buys, I guess. I would have thought someone had a bye week early on. You know those early stupid buys. Ole Miss is also they're in the top 5, 225 a game. But I listen. You're right there. You're right almost in the middle of the pack. We'll see how this goes. We'll keep an eye on these SEC numbers. We used to mostly keep up with national, right? When we get into the season, we probably still will. But I want to, now that you're expanded to 16 teams, I mean, and considering you're playing in this league, we'll put more of a focus on the SEC in terms of numbers. Rushing offense, Arkansas is also in the top 5. I mean, they're in the top 3, top 5 in every category on offense, just about, as far as I can see. They average 255 yards a game. Alabama at 266. Tennessee's at 276. Run defense, here's where Arkansas has stood out. 33 yards per game, and they just got – listen, and this is why I say some of this you should probably look at and go, okay, not bad. Who did you just play? Only the greatest Heisman candidate since Barry Sanders at Oklahoma State. Only the greatest of all time, at least according to national media and some of their fans. Some of their fans. Not all of them. Ollie Gordon has not had a great start to the season. 33 yards per game. That's what they've given up. Ole Miss at 27, Kentucky at 42. Arkansas kind of answered a question there, didn't they? So far. What's up? You know, my biggest thing has been the quality, the depth, right? The quality depth. Remember the saying on the show, QDM, quality depth matters. And it looks like so far they're holding up. And that's very good to see. I was concerned about that. At times last year, Arkansas the Big 12, excuse me. That's what made the Ollie Gordon Bowman combination very deadly at times. Bowman, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't want to get into that game yet, but Bowman looked like pure cheeks against Arkansas, no doubt. He's not a very good quarterback. But what makes them dangerous is when they get Gordon going, and then vice versa, right? They'll pop you over the top, run some bubble screens. They're going to find a way. They're going to nickel and dime you, and they're going to find you over the top because you're biting on Ollie Gordon. And shutting him down forced them to make some bad decisions throwing the ball, which is him throwing out in the flats when nobody's there. There's some good. There are some things to sunshine pump on, if I'm being honest. There are. But we'll get to all that in a minute. And I know someone's already rage typing. Like, no, Ty. No. There is no good. It's all bad. You should know better. Fire them all right now today. Listen, man, we do the whole thing. We go after, we look at the whole kit and caboodle. Anyone that knows me, I either get, every year, I'm either too negative or I sunshine pump. Every year. It's like, no. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing. And the notes that I'm taking, during a game. I mean, I'm giving honest thought behind everything that I say. Like, this is where I'm at with it. I don't care. If it makes you mad as a Razorback fan, if it makes you happy as a Razorback fan, I'm just going to give you where I'm at with it. That's what I've always done. Going all the way back to the Pig Trail Network days. That's what I have always done. So, yeah, Arkansas, when you look at them on offense, they're doing it right in a lot of areas. Not all of them, but in a lot of areas. Take away some mistakes. Who knows what the title would be right now of this live. Arky56 is in chat. He says the defense needs to blitz more and play more man-to-man in the secondary. I thought I keep getting ahead of myself. Hang on. We'll get there in a minute. I don't want to take away the entire that part of the discussion. So, again, the SEC, honestly, I think is off to a decent start. There have been a couple of games, and I know some people might want to look at this one, but nobody is. Have you noticed that? Like, no one's looking at this and going, "We'll see, that's why the SEC is overrated," because Arkansas lost to Oklahoma State on the road. Or, you could look at Oklahoma barely getting past an 0-2 Houston, 16-12. LSU struggling with Nichols. A&M losing to Notre Dame, which, okay, whoa. What the hell's going on with Notre Dame? I am – maybe they don't know how to handle success. I don't know. Like, who saw them losing? I know a lot of people are pretty ecstatic about it. I'm going to be honest with you. It kind of feels good to watch Notre Dame lose. I'm sorry, Shane Gillis. I was very happy. I was happy to see him lose. I like those gold domes, I do, but I was kind of happy to see you lose. I really thought, and maybe they'll recoup from that loss. I really thought that was a playoff team. I mean, they looked the part. They looked good. The pieces they had coming back had a lot of talent, as Notre Dame usually does. They looked the part. And especially against A&M, who I know A&M year one under Elko, but God, they just shut them down. Only to turn around and lose. So what does that say about A&M, right? Like that's how the dominoes typically begin to fall. You start picking things apart a little bit, and it's like, well, they lost to them, who lost to them. They looked bad against them. They barely beat them, and then this happened. But the SEC, for the most part, I think, off to a pretty decent start. Who had South Carolina pinned as the that's been our only matchup, South Carolina and Kentucky. Who had them at 2-0, 1-0 against Kentucky? I don't know. That's not that outlandish, I guess. Alabama, Georgia, Mizzou, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Texas, Vanderbilt, all 2-0 alongside South Carolina. The one-loss schools are Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, LSU, Mississippi State, A&M, and Kentucky. I'm telling you, the portal, man, you'll watch one game and it's like, okay, we have to take it with a grain of salt. It's week one, but man, so-and-so looked good. These guys look good. And then you fast forward to week two. And it's like, man, I don't know if they're gonna be, maybe you thought that team was a playoff contender and you watch them, you're like, kind of like Notre Dame, which I only saw the highlights of, but it's like, what the hell? What's happening? Taylon Green voted as 19th best quarterback in the nation after week 2, coming from CBS. Appreciate the tag. Appreciate that. Oh, welcome to Discord, Lieutenant Carson. I see that you just joined. I'm going to give you your 15,000. By the way, all new joiners to Discord, you're going to get 15,000 XP. I'll make sure to get that to him. I don't know if he's in here right now, but appreciate you joining Tusk Talk Discord. John Haas with a $5 super chat. We had Murphy's Law. Third, and they came out thinking they could Cadillac a dub. They responded in the fourth and have to learn to play when they're up. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Daniel Bullock says, I hate Notre Dame almost as much as Texas. It's so good to see them lose, man. I don't know. I enjoy it because we know they're always given the benefit of the doubt from the AP. Always. But they did, I thought they were the part. You know what I mean? JV's Hangout says the sad reason no one is talking about Arkansas losing to Oklahoma State is they expect us to lose any big game we play, and why wouldn't they? Haven't given them any reason to believe otherwise. That's actually, a pretty good point. I think the point that I was trying to make is no one's talking about it as like a diss towards the SEC. JV's Hangout. I realize no one's talking. You're unranked, right? Most people have you pegged at 4-8 or 5-7. Most people don't believe you're a bowl eligible team. I get that. No one's going to talk about a team that doesn't have the greatest of, again, they went 4-8 last year. Oh my God, my dog. Someone knocked at the door. And here I thought moving in here would be a lot quieter. God. So distracting. The hell was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I'm not saying that Arkansas should have been talked about. What I'm saying is they didn't look at this game as a big negative when you're talking about the SEC from head to toe. When people start pointing out, well, so-and-so lost this game, so-and-so lost that game, and this happened, and this is a reflection of the league. I think most people, again, looked at this and thought, okay, maybe Arkansas is better than we thought. Truly. It's only Arkansas fans that are saying that Arkansas is crap and expect more of this. And maybe rightfully so. The national media, they tend to have a short memory when it comes to this stuff, right? They just do. If it had Arkansas won that game, who knows what the conversation would have been like on a national level. It certainly would have been, watch out, Bobby Petrino's offense. It's, this and that. I'm sure if there was something positive to spin, they would give it. I'm sure there would be more there. But again, the point that I'm making is Arkansas wasn't necessarily a negative for the SEC. They weren't supposed to win. They were 10-point underdogs. I think the spread went up to 10 points. It was 9.5, 10 points, something like that. Ty, do you think we have a letdown against UAB and struggle with them early? No. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to say that. I was going to say wait till later on in the week. If you struggle against UAB, I don't want to hear any excuses. Why did my camera – what the hell's going on? I'm telling you, something – I wonder if we got struck by lightning or something. This whole garage has been kind of weird. No, if you struggle against UAB, it's going to be a really long year. It's going to be a really long year for Pittman. Kind of. Alabama just had with South Florida. I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, okay, so you're comparing the two. It must have been me. I just got on. Again, check out Discord if you guys want to join. I wish there was a way I could just quick. There you go. If you guys want to join Discord, there's how you do it. Yeah, national media has it's like 4-8, 5-7. I think someone somewhere had Arkansas like, I don't know, 4 or 5 wins. It wasn't good. There's no doubt about that. JV's Hangout says, if you told me we would have 648 total yards of offense and them only at 385, I'd have said we blew them out. Turnovers was the killer. Yeah, right. And we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves on predicting what happens, but how do you become an OG Patreon member? Well, no, that's a different role. Just OG PTN. Appreciate Mike advancing the online leagues. I think Bobby gets the offense cleaned up. I'd like to see Singleton take some snaps with the first team against UAB, says Joe Cool. Hey, again, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. As I've said, YouTube does not recommend this channel very often, if ever. I have dropped on that area. So if you guys would like, share, subscribe. Small independent channel, doing my thing, as I have been for a while. I think I just became a Patreon member. Is there a way to check? Oh, well, actually, I can check right now. See if I got an email. Yeah. Carson Logsden. Oh, I didn't want to say your name. I'm sorry. I said your name. Hope you don't mind. Yeah. Look at you. $8 member. I don't have any way to celebrate that here, but welcome. If you haven't joined Discord already, make sure you do. That's where you get the most out of being a Patreon supporter. You have access in Patreon to the brand new Enemy Insider page. We added the numbers. We added some of the side-by-side analytics. And then I'm going to give some takes at the bottom where it says team notes. Just some things to look for versus the opponent. And, we rank. Well, it's not we pull the ranks from 247 just on team talent roster, like, the open stuff. It's just there for you. Very convenient. Everything's there. But at the bottom, you're going to get the just some takeaways versus UAB. There's side-by-side numbers. All sorts of stuff. Really cool artwork that I totally did not use AI for at all. That was all me. That is not AI at the top. Let's see. Ty, if we let Sam go eventually, any chance Bobby is the next head coach? All right. Look. I've said this a number of times. However, what is playing out right now is the very thing I said I believe might only be what would be the only exception, which is if they continue to look this way and the offense is churning and burning, maybe the defense is okay, whatever, but they still lose some ball games they shouldn't lose because of poor clock management, because of just poor team management, like what we saw coming out of the second half. If that stuff still persists and you're losing these close games despite all the offense, right, and all these things, and again, the question's about the offense. It's about Bobby Petrino. If all this stuff happens, if it unfolds this way, and you're still losing games, and fans are getting more and more pissed at Sam Pittman, and he's getting all the heat, even then, I don't know. Maybe as an interim head coach, they would move him there. But even then, he's talked about having no desire to be a head coach. He wants to just focus on offense. Especially now that he's got this super cool tablet and he can talk to his quarterback, through his headset. These are the things this is all he wants to focus on. But if we're talking about, all right, well, Sam is gone. They fire him halfway through the year, assuming you go 0-3 with these next 3 SEC games. That could very well be a possibility that he gets terminated. If we're talking about in December, they're whiffing on coaches. Maybe their top 3 picks, and Bobby's not one of them. And again, your offense, you look back on 2024, and it was rocking. The offense was fine. The numbers are there. And you got to imagine if your offense is there and you're putting up big numbers, you got to imagine you're winning games. And that would you fire Sam? Would you want to mess that up? Because we know Bobby's system, you always want these guys back for year 2. Would you really, at that point, you got to imagine, unless your defense completely shits the bed. But again, in this scenario, let's say they do fire Sam. That's kind of how we've started out, right? That's what's happening. The blame is not on the offense at the moment. The blame is on Sam Pittman. And the players, yes, of course, as it should be. Both players and Pittman, you can say, there's some stuff that, that maybe the offense didn't get right. Bobby deserves a little bit of criticism. Maybe there's some stuff that Travis Williams, I thought the defense also played well, but maybe there's some things you could point out that Travis, that they weren't prepared for. That little thing they did to the tight end was interesting, but I don't know how the hell you game plan for that. That's not something they've shown on film, at least not that I'm aware of. I just guys, I think he's tied at the hip to Pittman no matter what happens. I just don't see that happening unless, again, the offense, like you have to jump over all these hurdles to make this happen. Like the offense has to be spectacular, and at the same time, special teams, we know who's in charge of special teams, so I could see that happening. We already know they don't have a field goal kicker. At least that's the way it looks at the moment. And the defense and the special teams and everything just shits the bed. Like that's the only possible way that Petrino – I think he's tied at the hip no matter what. This has got to be the most frequently asked question, which is if Sam gets fired, what happens to Bobby? Can we keep Bobby? What's the best way to keep everyone – the defense and to keep Bobby here? What's the best path? I don't know that Bobby would keep the defensive staff. I don't know. How much money would he want to be the head coach? You got to imagine you probably wouldn't pay him a lot. Would be a cheap option or a cheaper option, and you feel like we already know he is definitely a proven head coach. I just think he's tied at the hip to Sam no matter what happens. I really do. I think no matter how many hurdles we even want to try to remove, I just think that he's tied at the hip. And if anything, they'll go looking for a new head coach. That's what I think happens. Absolutely. I think that's the ultimate plan. Make Bobby Petrino coach. I don't know. Unless Sam voluntarily steps down. I mean, if things are so bad that you're firing Sam Pittman, then you got to imagine that there's something going on with the offense too as the year unfolds once you get into the SEC play. Bobby most certainly went off on his offense today about the mistakes. Yeah, probably. Ty, is Bobby a better OC than head coach? Well, that's a good question. That's actually a really good question, but he did pretty well at Western Kentucky. How long was he there? Was it 1 year? He was only there for like a year, right? Or was he there longer? I don't remember how that unfolded. But he's certainly, when you talk about what he did right at A&M, he improved their offensive numbers by quite a bit. I think their red zone numbers went way north. I don't know. I think what's best for the program, I don't disagree with people who say that the best way to keep everyone where they're at is obviously for Pittman to come back. That's the only way, right? I mean, if Pittman is out the door, then so is everybody else. I mean, I don't know, and people are DMing me about, well, I've heard Odom. If Odom takes the job, he's going to keep everyone in place. Man, there is no way of knowing that. I'm sorry, there is absolutely no way of knowing that. No one knows that. I mean, unless you just know a big-time board of trustee member or Hunter Yurchek himself, and I just don't see that playing out. There's guys, we got to get through the damn season. Let's get through the season first. I don't even like talking about this. There's so many variables. There's so many different things that have to happen. And I think that's ultimately right now what everybody wants because we've seen the offense produce well. So far, I don't know that you put much on the defense. I think it's like Sam is he's the one they want out, but they want to keep everybody else. And listen, I just think they're all tied at the hip. If Pittman's gone, I think everybody's gone. Anyways, that went on too long. It's week 2. God, these fans. I know. I don't even want to discuss. We've got a long season to go, and someone after the fact is going to come in here and take shots at your boy about this subject. First off, I'm responding to a question. It's a very complicated question. It's the most frequently asked question, but I get it. It's a good question. It would be very fascinating to see how that all played out if they did, if they did make Bobby the head coach. Maybe Sam retires. Maybe that's how it all works, right? Sam has to retire. Anyways. All right, let's get to this Oklahoma State Arkansas game. First off, here's what we know happened. And again, we're not gonna focus too much, but the title of this is 2 steps forward, 1 big step backwards. Here's what we know what happened. Here's the good that I think may have been answered against Oklahoma State. Green, really dangerous on these bootlegs and any designed plays or not designed where he's running outside of the pocket, where he's running to throw the ball. He's lethal. He is lethal. There's been a few times, or I shouldn't even say a few. There's probably been 2 or 3 times where I think he looks like he starts to panic, doesn't really know what to do once the pocket really begins to crumble. But then there was a play where the pocket crumbled and he just ran forward, had a big gain. There's no doubt that Green is a big-time playmaker. He has that ability. I don't know who the hell you compare him to. Everyone says, well, maybe he is that Matt Jones with a better arm. Because Matt Jones, listen, there are throws Matt just could not make. He was dangerous. He could, out of the option. He could also make things happen if he would always like to roll out of the pocket. And then he had such a gap between him and whoever's trying to, whatever defender's headed his way, he could kind of survey the field. Then he would just take off and run, and you weren't going to catch him. That 4.37 speed that we didn't realize at the time that he had, you saw it on display. When you go back and you watch those highlights, there's a little bit of that with Green. I always thought Matt had surprisingly good pocket awareness. Maybe not great, not to the highest of degrees, especially when it comes to passing, because he was very limited in the passing game. Although he had a couple of games where he threw the ball pretty damn well. But consistently, he was not known as a great passer. This is why the guy went into the NFL Combine as a wide receiver, and he was drafted as a wide receiver. Green has some of the instincts that you want out of a quarterback, again, when you press him and he's outside of the pocket. He can make throws off his back foot. He could jump up in the air and make throws. I mean, I'm not prepared to put him in the freak of nature category like I do with Matt. Matt Jones was a freak of nature. Peyton Hillis was a freak of nature. You guys remember hearing those stories about him pulling trucks when he was in high school? That's all everybody talked about. This kid down there pulling trucks, strong as hell, physical, just a potent runner, could catch the ball, could do everything out of the backfield. A dual threat fullback, H-back type of guy. He was a freak. So strong, God. But Matt Jones was a freak of nature because he was so tall, so athletic, could jump. Green, I'm not putting him in the FON, but he can make plays. That much we know now. I know it's like, well, okay, wait a minute. Spring camp, fall camp, we saw him in the scrimmage, but you finally got to see it against a quality opponent. Of course, it's easy to look good when you're playing someone like UAPB. He did whatever he wanted in that first half against Oklahoma State and a little bit in the second half. Also saw Green check the ball to at the line of scrimmage a couple of times. It ended up being a positive result for Arkansas for sure, at least once. It was that double-digit run for Jackson over to the right side. I think he may have flipped the play. I'm not really sure what he did when he checked, but he checked and Jackson was in the end zone. I think he's someone who he knows what to do with this offense. He's confident. He might be a little too confident, right? We also saw Arkansas completely dominate nearly every statistical category in this game. Again, whether you believe they're ranked or not, I'm going to be honest with you. Looking at it, I wonder if Oklahoma State doesn't go like 7-5, 8-4. I just was not impressed with them at all. I thought Arkansas just dominated Oklahoma State. And again, I do believe that Arkansas gave this game away, and it was more about Arkansas losing this game than it was Oklahoma State winning it. They dominated nearly every statistical category, including turnovers, which is why you lost this game. Oklahoma State knew how to benefit. They knew how to take advantage, and that's why they won. That's what good teams do. Is they listen, you give me a gift, I'm going to do something with it. You throw a pick, I'm going to run it upfield for 70-something yards and score. Arkansas won at the line of scrimmage in the run game. Completely shut Ollie Gordon down. Completely shut the guy down. He didn't stand a chance. He had one double-digit run, which came late in the game. And it looked like just a missed call by either the staff or maybe someone was out of place. I don't know. But that was the one big play they had on the ground out of Ollie Gordon. They stuffed the run. I don't know if that means moving forward they're going to do that. I thought the secondary – I mean, you like that interception by 15 by Singletary. That's what happens when you when you try to throw the ball over the head of a 6'3" corner. It's what he can do. They targeted him a lot. And he made him pay the price at least once. There are signs here that they have something. They have something on both sides of the ball, primarily on the offense. And then also, and I'm probably missing out on something, but the Hogs have a punter. Devin Bell seems to have both power and accuracy. Will come in handy in close games. He had that 57-yarder. I think all of his punts went down inside the 20, which is a big deal when you're talking about getting in these field position battles. That's a big deal. Now for the steps backwards. Once again, you come out in the second half and you just, I don't know. I still don't really have words for it. You just made a lot of silly mistakes. And the execution was there in the first half, no doubt. You had some early mistakes as well. It's not like it all happened in the second half, but we know that the second half was where this began. The pick six, they recovered, and they even went down they scored again. They went up 21-7. Jaquindon Jackson's fumble. These are the negatives. Broden's drop pass in the end zone. This is both halves too, by the way, not just the second. Taylon Green struggling with snaps. Bad snaps by the center. Missed open wheel route throw. A missed 41-yard field goal, a muffed punt return, a dropped interception in the red zone. Couple of PI calls. You can argue whether or not they were legitimate or not. A missed 46-yard field goal in overtime. Losing the turnover battle 3-1. And, of course, Sori's personal foul in double overtime. These are all these are reflections of coaching. Guys, they go over this stuff in practice. I sit there and watch them. They have these drills where they beat the shit out of the running back with these like extended boxing. I don't even know what the hell they are. And they beat the hell out of the running back while he's running with the ball. Jaquindon Jackson is a problem for both the defense and Arkansas when he's carrying the ball. He's probably going to fumble it. That little pitch from Green was not on Green. Watch Jackson's helmet. He's looking forward. He's not paying attention to the ball. That's a fumble on him. This is stuff that has to be caught in practice. Now, this is the advantage in something I talked about last week. Oklahoma State had a huge advantage coming into this game, not just because they're playing at home, but because they were actually tested. They actually had to keep their starters in for a while in their game in week 1 versus South Dakota State. They had film to go back and say, look at this, look at that. They actually had to deal with a physical football team, and they were. South Dakota State was pretty physical. They were pushed. They were challenged. They didn't fix the run game because Ollie Gordon once again looked like shit. Overrated. They were able to go back to film and say, here's what we need to get right. Arkansas didn't have to do that. Sam even said it today in his own words. I wish we'd played another team before Oklahoma State. In his own words. Another big negative is not getting pressure on Bowman. I mean, yeah, they're super senior squad, but guys, come on. I had so many people all offseason tell me this is going to be a great defensive line. And listen, against the run, they graded out really well according to PFF. And they obviously, right? I mean, they shut Oklahoma State down. Now, different websites are saying different things. I think PFF says Arkansas had, what'd they say? Was it 0 quarterback hurries or was it 3? I think ESPN says they had 3. And I want to say Arkansas's own website had them at 0 quarterback hurries. That's just inexcusable. I know they're super seniors. I know they have a ton of experience under their belts. But, guys, talent can usually, especially in this league in the SEC, almost always trumps experience, unless that experienced player is just a really damn good player. And maybe that was the case here with all 5 of these guys. Arkansas's pass rush was atrocious. And that's just not – that shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have been that easy for Bowman, who, by the way, He didn't need Arkansas's help to look like shit. He looked like shit the whole game. I'm surprised he threw for over 300 yards. I think Arkansas secondary, there's something there. I'm not saying it's a major red flag yet, but boy, there are some wide open, easy throws that Bowman was able to make. Bowman's not that good. 59% pass completion ratio last year. He's not off to a great start this year. Again, I just think Oklahoma State's – they look like a 7-5 team to me, but then again, they are in the Big 12. But in Pittman's own words, wish he'd been able to play someone before Oklahoma State, someone that could push them and challenge them a little bit. So then the question is moving forward, can you learn from these mistakes, right? Can you actually can you take 2 steps forward and maybe a 3rd step and not move backwards? We did get some updates here really quick. Let's see what Sam had to say. I did record. I was there today in the Zoom call. I wasn't there personally. I was here, but I was in the Zoom call and I recorded it. We did get some updates. Hudson Clark's status. He says it's his back. He hurt his back. He did come back. He played some special teams, which I did not see happen. I'm not saying that he's lying. I'm just saying I didn't see it. They're waiting on an MRI today. As of this time, I haven't gotten the results, but he came in for treatment yesterday. I love the kid. He was playing really well too on defense. He was. I think he ended up under double digits in total snaps. He had that beautiful pass breakup early on in the game. Kudus, he says, I'm an optimist. I don't know if I'm optimistic about him getting back anytime soon. I don't believe he'll play this week, to be honest with you. Jaquindon with the cramps. Sam says he'll be fine. I thought he would. Let's see. I thought something. Anyways, he'll be fine. There's some more injury questions. Luke Has and Jalen Braxton. Braxton is fighting some tendonitis, so we've got to be smart with him at practice. And Luke is fine. He had something to say about Landon Jackson, and bear with me. Let's just quote him here. And again, this is straight from the transcript. Why is Landon Jackson off to a slow start this year? Because again, I thought he looked more explosive through fall camp. I thought he just looked, I don't know, more explosive. He looked better. He looked like an NFL defensive end just by his actions, right? By watching him post-snap or pre-snap, whatever. When the ball snapped, he looked the part. Why is Landon Jackson off to a slow start this year? And he says, I think what's happening with him, I think you're seeing that he's getting chipped a bunch. This team slid a lot to it a lot in pass protection. What he was saying was he slid to Jackson's side, which means you basically are double teaming him. When they didn't, they were coming off and shipping him. Again, I think he's saying chipping. The transcript says shipping. I don't know if that's a term I've never heard before. So until somebody else sparks, you know that people go, man, I got to really worry about that guy. So in other words, if someone else on that defensive line does their part and they become a threat and they see that on film, well, now they've got their hands full. He's saying that Jackson could be a problem then. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was interesting that he was asked that, and he actually, this kind of makes sense. Taylor Green being able to just throw it and receivers go get it. Taylor, at times, we expect him to complete every pass. The NFL guys don't do that. But he completes a bunch, and some of his throws are fantastic. Like I say, I wouldn't trade either one of them, though. But I'm not going to trade a quarterback. We're about 650 yards a game, and he's really done a nice job, knows where to throw the football. Again, when you look at just kind of how this thing unfolded, it was mental. And there are some things that you just can't – how do you blame a coach on some of this stuff? The muff punts, like that's – you could say Fountain's not got his guys, looking for the ball or listening for the return man when he's supposed to yell out that he's fair catching the ball. Maybe there were some communication errors, special teams having problems, big surprise there. But A lot of mental mistakes. Again, a lot of what I've said, you guys already know. We already talked about in the postgame, and other people have already talked about it today. But I do see signs of life with the offense. My God. Arkansas right now, and again, this is after going on the road, and after playing a chump. According to NCAA stats, this is the number 1 third down offense in the country. They're converting 71% on third down. That is insane. They're 20 of 28 on third down. Ole Miss, no surprise there. They're in second, but they're at 65%. You're one of the top offenses in every single category. Now, this will slip and slide. We're going to see if they can maintain this. And honestly, I could care less. I want wins more than I want stats. But again, sometimes they just go hand in hand, don't they? Sometimes when you have these great offensive numbers, you go back to Bobby's first time here when Arkansas was one of the top 3 offenses in 2010 and 2011. And you looked at the stat sheet and you saw why. You watched the game with your eyeballs. You saw why. They passed the eye test and they passed the written test and what's being printed when you're talking about the stats. These things follow hand in hand. Playing smarter football, eliminating some of these mistakes. I don't know. I know some people, local media, have them really at about 5 wins. I had them at 6. I don't know if this is because this was one of my 6. I don't know if they can find a 6th win now. I don't know. But I will say there are some other teams that so far aren't off to a hot start. There's a lot of time for all these teams to fix their mistakes, including Arkansas. Just saw Landon Jackson's picture on a milk carton. I saw you, T-Dub, commenting on Arkansas's hype video. Or no, it wasn't hype video. It was the Pittman, the thing that he does after the game with Chuck. I saw you commenting. I like where we are in basketball and baseball. I want the trifecta. Well, baseball, you got to get out of your own. You got to get out of your own regional. Got to get out of your own. You got to be able to at least make the supers to get people really excited, right? Ty, did you watch DJ Will? No, I've been asked that now 3 times. I have not watched it. I will. All the one-possession games through the years. I was looking at that earlier, actually, Jason Fountain. There's a lot. There's a lot of games that are just you forget how many times they have lost these games by 7 or fewer points. And there's a number of them. It's not just last year either. And again, you talk about South Carolina, Cincinnati, and Missouri State when Bobby Petrino came to town. Those were games that you had big leads, and then these teams started kind of fighting their way back. If the score is if you're only leading in the final minutes by single digits, if you're only up 7 or so points, there's just no guarantee that you're going to win that game. And that's the case for most teams. I get that, but good teams know how to win those type of games. Better clock management, which I thought the bottom of this game, the clock management was not very good. Poor game management. Where were the adjustments in the second half? Didn't look like any. Did feel like they tried to get a little bit more conservative. Don't know if that was Bobby. Don't know if that was Sam's influence. I have no idea. A lot of it, too, was Oklahoma State, no doubt. Wasn't all just Arkansas playing like shit. You have to tip your cap to Oklahoma State. They did enough to make it interesting. But Arkansas kept handing them these opportunities. You're not going to win very many games, no matter the amount of offense, how good your defense was, when you're turning the football over and not capitalizing. They had that pick at the end of the first half. They didn't capitalize off of it at all. There are some teams who I'm like, okay, maybe they can beat. Maybe you're swapping out Oklahoma State for LSU. Maybe right now I'm not putting them for against Tennessee. I would take Tennessee to win that game. I think the FPI, the Football Power Index, has Arkansas at like 5-7. I think that's what I saw on Sunday. I don't know if that's still the case. Matt says, anybody that watched the game with a brain knows it wasn't on TG. He deserves some blame, but he is at the bottom of the list. What did Steve-O say? He said he's putting it all on Green. Well, Oklahoma State will make Arkansas look good when they play Tulsa. You're not wrong about that. Like Darren McFadden never fumbled the ball. Darren McFadden was once in a generation talent. Like you could make up for a fumble with Darren. You go back to the USC game in 2006 when Arkansas fumbled the ball, got blown out by USC, and they turned around and they won 10 games. Anything can happen. Running backs fumble the ball. Quarterbacks fumble the ball. It's about how you recover. It's how you fight back. And under Pittman, it just seems like the closer the game is, you're already nervous because it's a close ball game, but you get even more nervous. Oh, okay. Jason Fountain is Scott Fountain's son. I'm not buying that. Also, I've been on my dad's ass. Special teams will be turned around next game. Hey, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe if you're new here. Don't forget, Patreon supporters, you have a new page to check out in Discord called Enemy Insider. Keep an eye on it. We're going to add some more notes to it. We've got some analytical stuff that's posted in there side by side. We did the same thing for Oklahoma State. I will make a prediction in there as well as far as the actual score. I wish JJ wouldn't go out of his way to run people over. Well, when he scores, he's always doing something, man. If he's not waving at the cheerleaders, he's telling the crowd to quieten down. He's got a mouth on him. Doesn't do you much good, though, when you can't win the ball game, right? All right, that is going to do it. Special shout-out to Patreon supporters, of course, as always. I appreciate you all for being subscribers. If you're watching this after the fact, you're not here during the live, make sure you also like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. I'm usually really good about responding. But shout out to sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes. 501-244-3667 is the number. They operate out of Central Arkansas and up here in Northwest Arkansas. Again, that's Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Insurance Max, covering the state corner to corner. Business, personal, life and health insurance, retirement. They shop the best rates for you here in our wonderful, awesome state of Arkansas. Check out their link, provided for you down below, see what Insurance Max can do for you. All right, we'll be back. Like I said, on Wednesday, we may just make it a call-in show. I'm going to try and get someone lined up. That's right. Join Michael Kerper's got it right. Join Discord and Patreon. Absolutely. Again, I appreciate everyone being here, and hopefully I'll see you on Wednesday or Thursday. But we try to aim for Saturday post game, Monday. We try to aim for about 4 lives a week. They can be a little bit random. But if you hit the notification bell, you'll know. It's really about, sometimes for some of you, that's about the only way you'll get a notification, if you hit that bell. All right, I will see you guys later on this week. Have a good rest of your Monday. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones. Voice of Darth Vader and other roles as well. Rest in peace. All right, we'll see you guys later on.